Hey YouTube, Kira Tweak here, bringing you all my Dinomorphia Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for March 2022. With the release of Battle of Chaos, the Dinomorphia deck was one of the newest decks we were given, with the awesome support of being a deck that focuses on heavy trap lineup, and being a dinosaur deck allows us to at least utilize some of the older support we've had for dinosaur monsters, along with the new support we'll get for the deck with the Dimension Force booster pack coming out later this year. I'm happy with the results of the deck. It really didn't interest me as much before as it did when I was actually, playing with the deck and doing some tests with it, but big thanks to my buddy Phil for letting me borrow his Dinomorphia deck for the profile. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the monster count for the Dinomorphia deck is actually pretty low. We're running 3 of the Dinomorphia Therizia. If this card is normal or special summon, you can set 1 Dinomorphia trap directly from your deck to your spell and trap card zone. Then if your life points are 2,000 or less, this card gains 500 attack. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish 1 trap card from your graveyard to special summon 1 level 4 lower Dinomorphia monster from your graveyard except for Dinomorphia Therizia. You can only use each effect of Therizia once per turn. So the setup with this card is immense. There's a heavy lineup of Dinomorphia traps that we run in the deck. There's a heavy lineup of traps we run in general with this deck because it's the main focus of the deck. But having a monster that can just give you a set card on the field, whether it's normal or special summon, but also give you resources for special summoning other Dinomorphias onto the field, is your main play to go into with this deck as a whole. With the other Dinomorphia monster we are running is Dinomorphia Diplos. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 Dinomorphia card from your deck to the graveyard. Then if your life points are 2,000 or less, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish 1 trap card from your graveyard to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Dinomorphia monster from your graveyard except for Diplos. You can only use each effect of Diplos once per turn. More setup. Once again, having the Therizia in your graveyard to give you a special summon gives you another resource to set on the field, thanks to Diplos. And being a fusion deck that focuses on the many different Dinomorphia monsters, we also have the rank 4 options with cards like Evil Tsar Logia and Evil Tsar Dolka needing dinosaur monsters to overlay into them. And with Therizia and Diplos both being level 4 monsters, it just makes it all the easier. The only other monster I run in the deck is 3 Ash Blossom and Joy Spring. Traps are a big part of the deck, so I feel that's all you need for a hand trap lineup, along with the 2 monsters you'll focus on with all the other many traps that we run in the deck. Our spell count is also pretty low for these spells. I'm running 3 Fossil Dig. It's just a search option for our dinosaurs, whether it be Diplos or Therizia. They're both dinosaurs, so you both have an option to search for this card with this spell. So an easy search there. And also 1 Monster Reborn, since you can get the special summon option for both Diplos or Therizia. Having a special summon target with Monster Reborn definitely does come in handy. And like I said, that's it for the monsters and the spells. A very, very low count compared to the trap cards. For the trap cards, I'm running 3 Dinomorphia Domain. During the main phase, pay half your life points to fusion summon 1 Dinomorphia Fusion monster from your extra deck, using monsters from your hand, deck, or field as material. When your opponent activates a card or effect while your life points are 2,000 or less, you can banish this card from your graveyard. You take no effect damage from your opponent's card effects this turn. You can activate 1 Dinomorphia Domain per turn. So this is your main go-to fusion card in the deck, and also setting up your life points to be 2,000 or lower will come in play with some of the other cards we run in the deck. But having the fusion play for both of our fusions, whether it be Kentragina or Stealthburgia, you have both the options available to you with these cards you run in the deck, being able to also use monsters from your deck as that resource. I also run 3 Dinomorphia Sonic. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control a Dinomorphia monster, pay half your life points, negate the activation. If you do, destroy that card. Then destroy 1 Dinomorphia monster you control. And during damage calculation, while your life points are 2,000 or less, if you would take battle damage, you can banish this card from your graveyard. You take no battle damage from that battle. So you have the setup also with Diplos to send your Dinomorphia cards to the graveyard to use the banish plays, but having a counter trap that can just stop a spell or trap that can also be set up on the field thanks to cards like Dinomorphia Therizia. It all comes together as a definite 3 of, so you have all these options available to continuously use to negate your opponent's cards. Also running 3 Dinomorphia Shell at the start of your opponent's battle phase. Pay half your life points to special summon 1 Dinomorphia token onto the field. If you do for the rest of his turn while you control that token in your monster zone, your opponent cannot target other monsters for attacks except for that one. The token has 0 attack and 3000 defense, so makes for a pretty good shield against your opponent. And during damage calculation, while your life points are 2000 or less, if you would take battle damage, you can banish this card from your graveyard to take no battle damage from that battle. Once again, another banished target, following trend with all the other Dinomorphia traps. I also run 1 Dinomorphia Brute. It's more of a situational card, being able to pay half your life points to destroy 1 Dinomorphia monster you control, and 1 card your opponent controls. A destruction card definitely does come in handy. Only run the 1 though. You can also set it up with Therizia, so you have the play there available to use it, and then also being another effect damage option. I feel the battle damage definitely comes into play more with cards like Sonic and Shell. I do have the burn damage with Domain, but Domain being a fusion play is definitely much more needed in the deck alongside just the 1 Brute. For some more of the generic traps that we run in the deck, because the option for the banish with the Dinomorphia monsters just says you can banish 1 trap card from your graveyard for more of the special summon plays. So the other traps we run in the deck are 3 Infinite Impermanence, just a good option if you're going second, if your opponent tries to get a monster effect off on the field, to be able to activate it from your hand. Also, 3 Torrential Tribute. Being able to clear your opponent's field of any monsters definitely comes in handy with this card, because you can easily recover by just special summoning more of your own monsters from the graveyard back onto the field. I also run 2 Compulsory Evacuation Device. This is just a preference of mine for being able to stop more monsters on the field. If you want to increase the number of Brutes that you run in the deck, you can always increase the number of this card by taking out more of the Compulsory Evacuation Devices for more of that card. And for the fact that your life points have to be 2,000 or less, I also run 3 Solemn Judgment. This just, makes it so when you pay half your life points immediately, they'll be at 4,000. If you have another Solemn Judgment, 2,000, and you've met the requirements right there for all your Dinomorphia plays thanks to this counter trap. That in turn should also stop a good number of your opponent's other cards. For more of the life point lost, I also run 3 Solemn Strike. Same play style with this deck, just being able to stop your opponent's own cards, but also reducing your life points to meet the criteria for a good number of your Dinomorphia cards. And then lastly, for more special summon options, I run 3 Back to the Front. The reason I chose this over Call of the Haunted, 1, it's just an added choice to then keep the monster on the field, but being able to then get the special summon effect of either Diplos or Therizia makes it all the worth it with this card to then give me a trap in the graveyard to use for their banish plays. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. For the fusion monsters, I run 3 Dinomorphia Kentragina. You need 2 Dinomorphia monsters with different names. This monster has 4,000 attack and 0 defense. It loses attack equal to your life points, and you can only use each of the following effects of Dinomorphia Kentragina once per turn. During the main phase quick effect, you can pay half your life points and banish 1 Dinomorphia normal trap from your graveyard. This effect becomes that trap's effect, and then when this card effect is activated, this card is destroyed by battle or card effect. You can special summon 1 level 4 lower Dinomorphia monster from your graveyard, being able to then recycle Therizia or Diplos on the field, and you want your life points to be low, because then otherwise the higher your life points are, the lower this card's attack will become. But you should know when to fusion summon this card based on what you were able to set up against your opponent and all the traps you run. I also run, for additional added backup, the 3 Stealth Bergia. It needs 2 Dinomorphia monsters with different names. While your life points are 2,000 or left, you do not pay life points to activate trap cards or Dinomorphia monster effects. You go and use each of the following effects of Dinomorphia Stealth Bergia once per turn. When your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 level 4 lower Dinomorphia monster from your graveyard. So setting this card up on the field, even if your life points are pretty low, you still have added options for cards like Solemn Strike and Solemn Judgment. They may have lowered your life points in the beginning of the game, but then you can just activate them without having to pay your life points at all, thanks to this card being on the field. And for some of the other monsters I run in the extra deck, I also run 3 Evil Czar Logia. The options are definitely here to use this card, and the number I run in the deck, it is a Solemn Judgment without any life point cost for just 2 level 4 dinosaur monsters. So this card will definitely come in handy for stopping a good number of your opponent's plays, since you can easily special summon 2 of the Dinomorphia monsters on the field. If you don't have the fusion option available, you can just overlay the 2 into a Logia, setting them up in the graveyard when you detach 4 Logia to at least then stop more of your opponent's plays, and then special summon them right back onto the field. And I also run 2 Evilzar Dolka for a detached cost of 1. Dolka stops a monster effect, and it's also not a once per turn, so you have the option for destroying that monster as well as, negating its effect. For the other Xyz monster, just one Abyss Dweller, stopping your opponent's graveyard effects while all the other traps stop all the cards on the field. Very, very useful. And then for the Link monsters, I run 1 Nightmare Cerberus, 1 Underclock Taker, and then the 1 Nightmare Unicorn to finish off the extra deck. As for some of the go-to plays, this is a very control-based deck because you're going to open up multiple traps in your hand. So it all just comes down to if you can get your life points low enough, having the needed requirements. You have the search power with cards like Fossil Dig in the deck to search out your Dinomorphia monsters and then go for that added setup. Having Therizia definitely is the biggest setup card in the deck because when it's normal summon, it just gives you the set of a Dinomorphia on the field. So you then have a spell and trap negation just by setting Sonic on the field, being a counter trap. It can also stop other counter traps. Therizia also, for the life point loss, will give you added benefits for the additional cards you may wish to activate. So it just comes down to if you're going to torrential your opponent's monsters, if you're going to negate more and more of their cards by paying half your life points, because all you need is the 2 negations for your different traps to then meet the requirements for the good majority of some of your other cards in the deck, including your Kentragina. But the big play will come down to not just being able to set up the counter trap, but to then summon out your Therizia and also set up your main go-to trap, which is your Dinomorphia domain, because this will be your fusion play by paying half your life points to summon that monster onto the field. And by using other monsters, setting up other Dinomorphia monsters from your deck to the graveyard to do that fusion summon. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. It's definitely an interesting deck. And like I said, we'll be getting more support for it from the Dimension Force booster set. So definitely look forward to an update when that set comes around. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.